Hey guys, welcome back to Basket Cases. We're here to show you one of our new projects, or sort of old projects. This is a 2002 Fat Boy. Some pretty cool stuff planned for it this year, but first we'll get Corey to give us a little walk around on everything that he's done to the machine so far, and then we'll start tearing.
Yeah. So originally came just as a stock 88 cubic inch, had an S&S Super E carb on it. And right away we went into the nose cone and had a look at its cams, tensioners, and things of this nature. And it did not look good. Tensioners are very wore, hardening on cams coming off, all bad stuff, which can lead to a cam failure, which wrecks your oil pump, which stops everything, and if you keep going, bad things happen. Ask me how I know. So it got 510 gear drive cams way back when it first came here. Rode around lots, the guy loved it, decided to move on. A fellow purchased it and now is a new customer of ours. So he has a bit of an itch to kind of get a little bit more power and stuff out of it and refurb it at the same time. The engine, we did a 97 inch S&S big bore along with S&S super stock heads. They were done, the big bore was done first, the heads were done later, just kind of bits and pieces as we go. Each winter we do a little bit of work on it. So this past year we installed a ignition kill quick shifter. It is a Heel-Tech quick shifter. So it's very nice, polished stainless, beautiful Heim joints and whatnot. Has one little wire coming off of it here, goes up to a control module here that's attached to the coil. And basically you hold this thing wide open and you just shift the gears at whichever RPM you prefer. And boy, is it fun. There's nothing like going sideways and shifting gears.
Absolutely. So I can't see it being bad if we add more torque.
Exactly, it can only get better with more power. The undermount oil cooler, very nice billet setup here, and it's all mounted underneath. Camera system, so it's like a security GPS tracking system. It has a front and rear mounted camera with full recording capabilities and movement sensors as well. We got the Vision X headlight. So now we're gonna go into more power.
Now it's time for the cliche engine lift moment every bike mechanic longs for and instantly regrets. Time for a bear hug.
Let's see if we can get this thing out of here. There you go, she's out. Damn.
Ooh, yeah. Step one's the tough one. Step one, remove everything except for the engine. Step two, take these two bolts out and lift it over here.
Bam, engine's out.
Boom. All right, now for fun stuff. Zach!
Shut the f up, Zach! So here we are, the engine's out on the bench. Gotta do a quick and dirty teardown. We will try and keep all the important things in the video and we'll speed through all the boring crap because nobody wants that. Here we are with the rocker boxes off. See, there's lots of bolts and things in here everywhere. So what you want to do is start with your rocker arms, held with these four. But wait, these two little guys, always do them first. Then the big ones evenly.
Why, Corey?
Because bad things may happen. We're going to crack the head bolts loose. Harleys have dowels on this side. So we want to start here, crack them loose, nice and easy. So a little bit of a turn. Don't just go full loose at once. You don't want to do that. Here we are.
Making a video for YouTube?
You bet.
We are if you shut up, Earl.
We're not even recording or anything. Alrighty, so here we are down at the 97-inch big bore. So we're going to be reusing this for other things. So we're going to go about changing these without taking the pistons out. So you go top dead center. Wiggle the cylinder very gently up all the way. Stop when you see the snap ring. If you want to be preventative, you can put like rags and stuff in there, or you just take it out and don't drop it.
Just be good at catching it.
Yeah. Or you just let it go flying out of the motor. Bam, right in your hand. So now, if in the perfect world, a little bit higher. See if I get the weight. Oh yeah, there we go. She's out.
Someone built this really well last time.
And out it comes. All in, ready to rock for the next motor it's going on to. Here we are, number 2. Top end, off. Down to the old crankshaft.
But are we done, Corey?
Not even close. In case you were wondering, that's what a Harley crankshaft looks like.
Yeah, for anyone who hasn't seen one yet.
Male and a female. Cam cover is off. This is what S&S gear drive looks like. So the stock has a chain set up here with the chain going all the way around from the crankshaft to the camshaft. And there's a spring-loaded plastic shoe that pushes on the chain. So what we're gonna do now is remove the S&S gear drive setup. So we have to use a fancy little puller here after take the bolts out and pull them off. They're kind of a light press fit.
You can't even do it if you don't have special tools. We're starting fresh. Angry Zach face.
We're gonna start with taking the cam plate off. So you've got your oil pump bolts here, numbered 1, 2, 3, and 4. Always do those guys first. Then you got the outside one. So we got our fancy dancy magnets here. Hold the cams, or to hold the lifters off of the cam for when we pull it out very carefully. Ta-da! There's your S&S gear drive cams. So there was also a chain here and a tensioner here too. So you can see how gear to gear is far better than chains under tension. See how free that moves? Nice and happy.
What a silly concept S&S patented
And
really
the dual
quickly.
roller torque bearings inside. Very key. That one looks still in one piece. This one's starting to go. Caught her in the nick of time. All right, so we're moving into uncharted territories for some. Soft tail bottom end. Twin cam B motor. Get in here to the voodoo science and see what's going on down in these balanced units here. Well, should be fun. All right, I'm hot. We're good. Hot. Crack the cases here. Bam. Cases are cracked. And off it comes. Here is the balanced twin cam engine. So you've got a rear shaft, front shaft, connected with chains, and they run together to balance the crankshaft. These are hydraulically operated tensioners that receive oil through this plug directly from the oil pump that would be here. So these are inside the engine. You don't really get to go at them unless you're doing crank work. So they are something to think about in the future for wear and tear, because these are plastic sliders. And they do have some good wear. So once we get apart, we'll show you guys. That's these guys, nice and slow. Get the oil out of there. Fancy tools. Locked and loaded. Same with the other one. There's the oil coming out. There. Got some balance shaft locks here. Hold everything in place for when we undo it. So like so. There it is. So that's the top part with the chain and tensioner assembly. And then basically now, each balance shaft. Big old chunk of steel. It's right on in there. Put that guy in there.
Turns out if your crank lobes are twice the size of your average car, you're gonna need some big weight to balance them out.
Where's the parts at?
Big old table of goodies here. So the main thing here,
The holy grail.
the big old S&S stroker crankshaft. Made in the US of A. Big old heavy duty unit. We'll take anything you can throw at it. The S&S big bore. So we've got their cylinders that are thicker, heavier, more material, better heat dissipation. Bit thicker pins, little S&S logo there. They look pretty much same as stock. So these cylinders, 3.875 inch bore with the crankshaft, make it a 106 inch stroker motor. So we got the crank under control and the cylinders. Here we've got the cam plate. So this is S&S's forged cam plate that's fully cleanable and rebuildable. You can pull all these plugs out and clean it if anything ever went bad. There's lots of little passages through it here. Got your little oilers and whatnot everywhere. So you can see the big openings for the ginormous oil pump that they have here as well. So this is the scavenge part and the pump parts on the inside. And we've also got magnets on the pickup here. If anything ever did go bad, it can help stop. And there's also a filter inside. S&S gear driven easy start camshafts. So these are a 635 cam. And then we have valve springs to accommodate said lift. These are 650 lift springs, duals, ready to rock. Bearing kit for the cams, double bearing Torrington style bearings for in the cases. We've got the ignition here. It's an adjustable programmable ignition. The next weakest link, your transmission. So we decided to go with a Baker direct drive 5-speed, made in the US of A. Got the polished door,
Straight cut gears.
they got their billet heavy duty shift forks and their shift drum assembly. So we got the transmission covered. He already has a Recluse clutch. So the Recluse has multiple plates and some clips and whatnot to reinforce the basket. We decided to go with the extended forward controls made by Performance Machine. So this is the kit here, all apart. So that'll get it from being floorboards that it currently has, a bit more forward, up out of the way, a bit better cornering and whatnot with the bike.
All right, so that's our parts list so far. Should paint a little bit of a picture of what we're doing here. This brings us to the end of part one. We are going to get throwing wrenches at this thing, get it back together. Do stay tuned for part two. John, our customer, was in this morning and the list continues to grow. So I'm sure we're gonna have more surprises as we get putting this thing back together, but do stay tuned for the rest of the build and the drive.